Alright, hey guys. So now I'm going to show you how to create the layout for this drawing. So this PDF is finished exploding, and now I want to select what the exploded boundary is. Sometimes it's not selectable and you might have to draw it, but in this PDF we were able to select the boundary, which are the two interior boundaries. Just make sure before you start the drawing layout you are aware of what boundary we're going to, whether it be the envelope, like the outside of the building envelope, or maybe the bottom of a surcharge slope. Just make sure you're on the same page with the project manager. And then we're going to create a layer for this wick drain boundary. I've already created it, but I'll quickly show you how to create a layer. We're just going to go to layer properties. I added this wick drain file by adding a new group filter, and then I clicked the add a new layer and called it Keller or wick drain boundary, created it blue. So now we're good to go with the boundary, and as you can see here I also have a Keller locations layer. So once we have our boundary, one thing we can do is just to get rid of all this stuff in the middle, we can highlight it. Just highlight one of them, and you can right click and go select similar, and then we can hide the objects inside. Just make it a little cleaner for us. All right. Now that we have a nice clean layout perimeter, I can save that, and we're going to go over to create our array. One thing I can do is I can copy my boundary just for reference while I'm creating the array. Move it over here, and now I want to type the array command. Oh, sorry, I have to bring over one of the control points. So the reason I'm bringing over a control point is just because I want the block, and we're going to be doing the block in this layout, and I find it the easiest way to just drag and drop a control point over, double click it, edit it, make it a generic name, and then we can highlight it and make it our Keller locations layer. Change it to kind of what color we want it to be. Now we're good. So once we have our block in our layer for our layout, we are going to create an array of it. So we're going to type array in the command line. We're going to select the object, hit enter, and it's going to ask us what type of array. We'll start with a rectangular one, and it's going to ask us how many rows and columns or the spacing. So I'm going to type S for the spacing. And what we're going to do is we're going to create two rectangular arrays on top of each other with an offset spacing. So our first array is going to have, I would like a 5-foot spacing. So our array is going to have a 8.66 spacing. And then our rows are going to have an 8.66 as well. And now we can just kind of move, reference our layout. We want to make it a little bit bigger. Ooh. All right, so now we have an 8.66 spacing, and we're going to, I'll quickly show you how to get the spacing. So it's just simple geometry. Let's say we want a 5-foot spacing. So we'll start with an ortho line, go 5 feet, and then we can draw like a 5-foot triangle. just going to copy this line, rotate it by 30 degrees. Oh, rotate it by 60 degrees. We can check our dimensions. Oh, come on, get ortho off. 5 feet. 5 feet looks good. And one thing to note, if your units are screwed up, you want to type the units command and make sure kind of in engineering precision is, kind of 2 digits after the decimal place, inches. All right. And once we have that, what we can do is, I'm trying to show you guys how to do an offset triangle. So if we were to do a rectangular triangle, the length of the center section would be double this side, correct? So if we take this side, you can see it's 4.33 feet. And if I were to essentially double this, I'm going to mirror it. We have an 8.66 array gap. So now we want to make another array exactly the same size, but we're going to want to offset it only half of the 8.66 feet. So what I'm going to do is draw a line to this between these two locations, find my center point, and I'm going to type 4.33, which will give me where I want to place my second array. I'll highlight my array, copy with a base point of this corner, and I'm going to move it. I can take array or ortho off, and I can snap it to this endpoint. And now we have a full array with a spacing of 5 feet . Whoopsies. What did I do here? Oh, whoopsies. So I figured out that my first array has to be a 5-foot spacing, and then my second array has a different offset. There we go. This one will be 4.33. Okay, that looks much better. So now, when I copy this array that has a x dimension of 5 and a y dimension of 8.66, when I copy this array, oh, there we go, I should have a dimension going every way of 5 feet. And then you can see 8.66. So essentially, a 5-foot triangular spaced array has two rectangular arrays with an x column dimension of 5 feet and a row dimension of 8.66 feet, offset to the center point. So now you can see I have two arrays, and I would like to explode this array to make them all individual points. So now I'm going to highlight the entire array, make sure I just have the array, and I'm going to type the explode command. Oh, I got to select the objects. Sorry, after you explode it. This operation may take a long time. Yes. Let's see how fast I can power up my computer. There we go. All right. So now we have an exploded array. And in the generic block form. So now we can go ahead and perfect. And now we're going to number our array. So you can either it's sometimes easier to number the array outside if you have to shift it, or it's easier to put it into your layout and number it. So we're going to number it outside of the array. I just want to make sure that it fits pretty close in the array before we get this going here. So I'm going to move this array over, just kind of center it on a corner here. And then I can select similar, rotate, select my base, select my reference point. Come on, baby. Boom. And then drag it up. Oh, that didn't work. Select similar, rotate, corner, reference, corner. This side now. Slide it over. All right, so our array is not quite big enough. So now would be the time to maybe make it a little bit bigger. We've already exploded the array. So I'm going to take it back to before exploding it and move it over. Just so we can make it bigger with a little bit of an easier method. That's exploded. One more back. There we go. All right. So we can extend our array out. You can probably do this with some better calculations if you want. I'm just going to drag it. All right, now we have an extended array. And now I'm going to move it over. Let's get rid of this now. Now I know like it's going to fit in here. And I mean, it would be good to maybe move it over, double check it's all going to fit. And what we want is we want an array that's a little bit bigger than the layout area. You can also check a dimension, 893 feet. $922. All right, so that should be long enough as well. So I want to explode this again. Or you can explode it at the end, it doesn't really matter. And we've now exploded it. Perfect. Now we're going to use the add-in tool called Increment that I mentioned in the first video. You can download it from the App Manager right here. We're going to select Increment. We're going to select, we'll add a character in front of it. Start value of 1. Prefix. And we're going to do an auto generation. So we can number it outside of the perimeter, or we can number it inside the perimeter. It kind of depends on your preference when you get used to doing this. Sometimes it's actually easier to number it inside the perimeter so you don't have any extras. So we'll just go ahead and do that for now. So I'll move it over again. Rotate it. Oopsies. Reference. All right, so once again, you can see we're a little bit inside our boundaries. It's okay though. We can make those edits by just copying a selection. So we'll take these two. And we can use the copy command. And my base point will be 1 behind it, so I have something to snap off of. This is where you can turn side snap on, off if you'd like. endpoint, midpoint, and I'll maybe just use center just to snap these points into place. Once I have enough, maybe I can also do that here. You can take these out. You can delete this section here. It's outside of the boundary. Once again, we'll copy off the reference point. All right. So I'm not going to go into too much detail with running this whole perimeter, but you can delete anything outside of it. I'll just keep it pretty generic for right now. You can add in here. You can delete these. And make sure it's nice and tidy up to the perimeter. Once we've completed the array, we can now number it. By numbering it, we can just hide. We can hide our perimeter line by going to the Wikidream boundary and just close it out. And then we can use our increment. So how you can do that is by going to this add-in tool like we did before. We'll have a prefix and we're going to go to auto, increment by 1. We're going to, entry type is going to be a block. Actually, we might be able to get away with a text because we already have a block there. We're going to replace the text and whatever sort of ordering you want to do it in. It helps if you rotate the drawing to perfect axis. As you can see, I'm a little bit off. The X and Y is up and down and this drawing is a little bit skewed. So we're going to select our objects, enter. Okay, I think we might have to do the block. So we'll go to increment, auto, block, DAC-WIC, tag, point number, yes, we're going to replace it. Okay. Highlight, enter. All right. So now it looks like it auto-numbered it. So you can see because I selected kind of upper or lower left side and then my increment is kind of going left to right, the number scheme is a little bit bizarre. So in order to fix that, you can rotate the drawing and you can do your numbering. So you can like rotate it to perfectly east and west on the bottom. And just make sure you have like an outline to rotate it back to. So I froze the perimeter boundary. A way that I can do that is by taking this line, turning on ortho, just drawing an ortho line. And then if I highlight all my locations, rotate it, my base point, my reference angle, base point, turn off ortho for this. I gotta probably turn on an endpoint here. And now if we try to number this again, it should go a little bit better. So we're going to go and I'm trying to fix this weird error. So we're going to go to add-ins, increment, same thing. We'll start value of 1 again. We're going to do block, wick, and we're going to sort by X. Let's sort by X descending, Y ascending. Okay. Now we can see, oh, we have a, not quite where we want it to be. So we can change it maybe one more time. We'll start at 1. Let's try Y descending, X descending. So you can kind of play with these until you get it kind of how you want it to be. Okay. So that looks much better. Now we have a nice, consistent pattern. Perfect. So in order to rotate that back, once we've completed the numbering, we can turn our wick drain boundary layer back on. Rotate. All of our points back. Voila. Once again, before you number, we can clean this up. Just trying to save some video time. You want to do it before because then your numbers will match better and you won't have missing numbers in your data extraction. So now we're going to move this over to the drawing, and then the next video I will show you how to do a data extraction. So I'm just going to delete this so this is going to be my reference point here. But I'll just keep the perimeter. We're going to have 2 perimeters over there, but I'll be okay. So I'm going to select similar, move, grab this point, and oh, I didn't want to grab that too. Okay, we'll just grab the points. Select similar, move. My displacement is going to be this corner right here. Boom. And over to the drawing. Lay it right back on that blue corner. Boom. And we have a layout. All right. I'll show you guys how to do a data extraction after. So thank you for watching.